I could take advantage of this very clear Zoom connection, quickly before we get to Professor Augustine, who is right here with us in the studio. I hope you understand, because Zoom connections can be a bit tricky. So, so I'd like to stay with you, Dr. Isako. You have told us what heart failure, what heart attack is, and of course that the heart is a pumping machine. Beautiful. But tell us, what could make this pumping machine become faulty? You say it starts to beat from 4 weeks after conception till death. But we do know that some people live with certain heart conditions. What could be responsible for it, considering the fact that, I mean, it's not something we can touch. We do not, can we control how it works?
All right, so thank you very much for such an interesting question. Now, the etiology of what causes heart problems in Nigerians is quite multiple. But one of the most important causes, essentially, is when the pumping machine, as we wear the heart, is pumping into pipes that have a very high pressure, which is hypertension. So when the blood pressure or the pressure of the entire body is high, that pumping machine has to pump against a very high pressure. That now sends a negative signal back to that heart and around to the entire body. So that's one of the most common causes of heart disease in Nigeria. Before we have other causes where certain valves inside the pumping machine could have a problem or the other. So first of all is hypertension. Unfortunately, most of these symptoms are not very obvious to the individual, and so the most important thing we tell people is to check. Most of our studies done in Nigeria show that 1 in 3 people do have some level of high blood pressure. WHO estimates that 1 in 5 people will have diabetes, and then that is complicated by strokes, by high smoking, by high stress lifestyles. All those things are complicated. Unfortunately, if we wait for the symptoms, it could get quite late. The typical symptoms are just feeling chest pain, feeling unnecessarily tired, unable to walk, leg swelling, which some of our people say they match poison. But all of those things indicate that the heart is not working well. And unfortunately, the most important thing is for us to get to the hospital and get appropriate treatment. Besides taking care of our diets, taking our blood pressure medications and any pills that the doctors have recommended for us. So it's critical. It's critical for us to do all these right things. But most importantly, if you are feeling fine today, get to the hospital at least once a year and get a good checkup.